welcome to the North Bank podcast, where this time I'm joined by Chris Only. Hello, Chris Only.
Hello, mate.
Hello, Steph. Steph's on his sick bed at the moment, so get well soon, Steph. I'm sure you'll be listening at some point tomorrow.
We should have shipped him a mic, really, and got him to do it from his sick bed.
Yeah, he's probably got quite a lot to get off his chest, actually, and some of it might be related to football. I don't know. Yeah, some of it. So look, a bit of a full show. We're looking back, obviously, to the PSG game last night, and then we'll look a little bit further back to the Leicester game on Saturday, which I don't think you've seen yet, have you?
No, the Leicester game I saw on my phone.
Right.
Because I wasn't able to go. Okay, so there were occasions where I was having to put it down because it was a child's birthday party. Blow the cake out, back on the phone. Who's that unsociable git in the garden?
Yeah, I'll fill in the gaps for you there in the Leicester game. Well, from my row 5 in block 7 vantage point, at least. And finally, we'll have a look forward to the Saturday game, Southampton and ex-narrative Ramsdale turns up. You just know he's going to have a worldie against us, and then we'll all feel obligated to, give him a big round of applause as he leaves the field with the Man of the Match award or something.
Only if they lose.
That caveat has to be there. So look, shall we go to PSG first, because it happened last night, most recently, and I must admit, it was an easy 2-0 win.
The word professional comes to mind, has been bandied around a lot.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stats, obviously, we only had 35% possession. They had 65%. But I think, again, that was game management for us in the second half. What was surprising, though, is we only had 6 shots to their 10 shots. 5 of ours were on target. 2 of theirs were on target. Now, I know they hit the woodwork twice, which don't count as on-target shots. But we only had 1 corner in the game, which was a bit of a come down from the 17 we had against Leicester. And they had 5 corners. In terms of team news, you and Steph predicted the team, I think, pretty much spot on. Did you pick? No, Steph did. You picked the goalkeeper. You picked. You thought Raya might have been injured, as did I.
Oh yes.
I've been screaming for rotation, but
you didn't get it.
We haven't had it. We haven't had it yet. And although, in fairness, he did give Saka a minute rest at the end of the game. Just on that, while I think of it, have you seen the video of Miles Lewis-Skelly's mother? She's in the upper tier and the camera's on her. Whoever's filming must have noticed before she did, because they started recording her. She had no idea it was her son coming on to replace Saka. And so the footage captures her reaction, which is just pure joy. It's a thing of beauty to see. She just gets up and squeals, like she can't articulate, but it's quite obvious what she's feeling.
Beautiful.
So what was your take on the game overall? I think Timber went off at half time with a muscle injury. Don't get me started on that. Merino made his debut. He came on in the 64th minute. Any other notable?
Just the overall thing of possession versus control as my overall kind of takeaway was that you can have 65% possession but not control a game. I mean, we'll refer to the Leicester game, I'm sure, but where we bossed it possession-wise, and it only takes 2 moments to bring you back to 2-2. So in this instance, I was watching thinking, I'm not worried here. I think we're in control, barring the odd time where, it squeaked against the post or whatever. I just felt that we managed it really well. And European games, the tempo, the physicality is different. It kind of reminded me of the way PSG played, reminded me of kind of mid-Wenger Arsenal in the way they're kind of very busy technical players, but the end product wasn't always there. We sometimes could never find the breakthrough despite having loads of possession. So I was really pleased with the way we just managed them. And when you're 2-0 up, you don't have to move into third gear, really. So
it's funny because I say this, but I didn't see the Wolves game at the start of the season. But for me, that was the most calm I've been watching an Arsenal game this season, which might sound ridiculous that it was against PSG, but like you say, I just thought we completely controlled the game. It would have been nice had Martinelli taken the volley chance to make it 3-0, and then I guess subs would have appeared sooner than they did.
Yeah.
But it was just a consummate performance. We kind of humbled PSG. They're not minnows, by the way.
No.
That's the first time in 51 group games they failed to score.
Indeed. Yeah.
So,
they're no mugs. And a word for the referee, I thought was...
who wasn't English.
Well, who wasn't English, but who didn't make himself the centre of attention and just kind of got on with it, and we didn't really notice him. So, well done,
I think
ref.
on commentary they said he ref was it the Champions League final last season?
Oh, right. Okay, well,
so he's experienced and he commands the respect of the players, and that's the key thing. I think Steph mentioned earlier that he was watching a game yesterday for 10-15 minutes and there was an incident and it went to VAR and he realised it was the English contingent, so he switched off.
That's it.
It's like, no, I'm not having this. On Steph, his reaction to the game, he simply says, PSG, really, really good win. Havertz is class. Need to be more ruthless in front of goal. Martinelli in brackets. And then we can properly ease off later in games.
Fair enough. I think you've also got to caveat a lot of commentary with the fact that we're missing Ødegaard. I don't think people realise how big a miss that is and the way we've had to kind of adjust to accommodate that loss. And I think we've done brilliantly. You know, the way that Havertz and Trossard have been interchanging almost and just filling that creative void.
In a different way.
In a very different way, because you can't replace him like for like. And
a word on Trossard, who I'm not a harsh critic of him at all. However, that cross for Havertz,
yes,
or pass, if it was a pass, that was a thing of beauty. That was so good.
Yeah. They did give him a bit too much time. If I was the manager, I'd be thinking.
Someone pointed out, never missing an opportunity to Chelsea bash. Someone pointed out on Twitter that I can't imagine Mudryk having the skill, foresight, vision to have played that pass. So just making the point that we've, pound for pound, we've got so much value out of Trossard compared to what we would have had out of Mudryk.
I guess we'll never know.
Does he play for Chelsea anymore? Even
he's probably playing with the under-12s than the way that they sort of segregate them now.
So Havertz scored on 20. Brave header from Havertz as well, I think. And Saka scored on 35 from a free kick, direct from a free kick for the first time since 2021. Yeah. Not sure that's what he intended.
No, he was putting it in the mixer and waiting for a little nick, which he nearly got. I think it was a couple of legs flying around in there, but completely wrong-footed Donnarumma. I mean, if that was my keeper, I'd be thinking,
Yes. I mean, he was expecting some contact, which is fair enough, but he did have plenty of time to react without the contact. And it wasn't fizzed in either. Like, it wasn't...
No.
It wasn't travelling at a rate of knots.
No, the fact that no one touched it is probably the thing that foxed him. But I'll take it.
What do you think of this new format then after 2 games? Because if it was in the group stages... So a 4-team group and PSG at home, there'd have been a lot more jeopardy on last night's game, and I think the atmosphere would have been a lot more involved as a consequence, because we know it between us and PSG to finish top of the group, so beat them at home and maybe get a draw away, and you look after the rest of the group quite comfortably.
Yeah,
but it didn't really matter whether we won, drew, or lost that game in terms of that table. It didn't fit. Maybe it would. We don't know yet, do we, how it's going to play out? But it doesn't feel like...
No, it doesn't. You're right.
That was a big game. I don't know.
No, because we're looking longer term, because we've got that many more games. Is it 2 more games in the? Yeah,
an extra 2 games. So we've got, I think, Shakhtar at home coming up next.
And Monaco. Yeah. And the atmosphere didn't seem...
No.
It seemed to reflect that it was just, okay, early days in this new league format where even a draw wouldn't be a disaster, it's fine. And I suppose because it's the first year, everyone's kind of a bit scratching their heads about it, about how to approach these games. And
the tickets weren't cheap. I'm in the cheapest seat in the ground, and it's 74 quid for that game.
Wow.
Compared to 30 quid for Southampton on Saturday, for example. Someone said that there were a load of season tickets available on the ticket exchange, like right up until the deadline, whenever it closes, a couple of hours before kickoff or whatever it is. Well, with season ticket holders, maybe it was chucking it down, maybe it was the weather, maybe it was just people thinking, do you know what, I don't care. Is this game really worth travelling an hour and a half to get to and then an hour and a half home? And so I don't know whether many empty seats I've no idea.
Certainly towards the end, but you get that in evening games anyway, when there's less at stake.
So look, we can't really complain. I don't know how many games have we had this season now? Is that 6, 7, 8, 9 games this season? We're unbeaten. We've played away at the Europa League champions. We've played at home to PSG. We've played away at City, away at Spurs, away at Villa, home to Brighton with 10 men for pretty much 45 minutes, and unbeaten.
Not bad, is it?
We're a proper team.
Yes. The question is now, do we lean into that team, the same team?
Squad.
Yeah. I think this is one of your gripes.
Yes, it is, and I will return to it. Don't worry. But me saying proper team just reminded me, and it offers a nice little segue into the Leicester game. So the Leicester game, I'll go through the stats, which are just like off the charts in that game. And one thing I need to say at the start, talking about Leicester, we fully deserved to win that game by 5 or 6 or 7 goals. So it wasn't an unlucky win, a lucky win. It wasn't fortuitous. We absolutely battered them. Okay, shot after shot after shot. Their keeper had an absolute worldie. Mm-hmm. We missed a couple of chances, a couple of gilt-edged chances, but it was more about the keeper's performance than anything. Okay, when you score your third and fourth goals in a 4-2 win in the 94th and 99th minutes, then yes, it does. It could easily have been another way. However, after we went 1-0 up and we scored the second goal in injury time at the end of the first half, Steph did say, he said, you know what, we're a proper team. There was no jeopardy in the game. Leicester in the first half had 1 touch in our box. We were completely in control and 2-0 up, and we literally could not have envisaged anything different in the second half. Now, Trossard did miss his kind of the one chance I thought he should have put away to make it 3-0. He did miss, and then pretty soon we were 2-2. I mean, the stats in the Leicester game, 75% possession. We'd 36 shots, 16 on target to their 5 shots, 3 on target. We had 76 touches in their box. They had 11 in ours. Our keeper made 1 save. Their keeper made 13 saves. We had 17 corners to their 0. I think that's only bettered in one game in terms of spread in corners, 19 to something. And I think that was Man City against QPR, the Aguero game. Our XG was 4.8 or 4.9. I think it's our highest XG since. Like it was just.
And yet. And yet these stats, yes, they do reflect the kind of dominance of a team, but you can't mitigate against that kind of freak. Okay, the Justin, he'll never score a goal like that again.
Yeah, I'm fed up with bloody fullbacks doing that. Danny Rose, the Southampton one down at St Mary's.
Yeah,
it was a game of 2 halves, literally
But we found a way.
Yeah, yes, we did. And on that 17th corner, I turned to the people around me and I said, "This is the 94th minute." I said, "This is going to feel so good when it hits the back of the net." And then I was punched by several people for tempting fate. So I got to punch them back, obviously, in the celebration afterwards. I don't forget. It was really good. I mean, we didn't care who scored, but it obviously came from a corner, and Trossard hit the ball back in and it went off Ndidi through the keeper's legs or something like that. I mean, that was quite lucky. I've got to accept that. Interesting thing about that game was Nwaneri came on before Jesus. I thought that was really interesting. We needed a goal and he came on. And apparently Jesus was really livid on the touchline. But has Jesus done enough in his minutes to warrant coming on? And I point to last night as well.
Yeah.
There was one opportunity where he could have laid it off to Declan Rice or to Saka, and he instead turned into 2 defenders to try and get the shot away himself. No. Is he trying too hard, or has he just forgotten that he's in a team?
Yes. Even
the Havertz goal against Leicester, that should have been laid to him before from Jesus. It came to him ultimately because Jesus shot and the keeper palmed it away into Havertz, to the defender, and then the defender kicked it to Havertz, and Havertz went in off his thighs, being kind.
I do think he's frustrated, and obviously seeing a 17-year-old come on before you, it's just magnified by the fact that he knows his form is not great and that he's trying a bit too hard. To be honest with you, I've kind of put him almost in the same category as Zinchenko now, in that I feel we've evolved past them both.
How quickly?
But that's kind of good for us in a way, that we can say that they got us into top four a couple of seasons ago and made us contenders. I just don't see a place for them now as in the starting lineup, either of them. I just think we've evolved past them.
Yeah, and that's a testament to how quickly we've evolved as a team. Yeah. And talking about one of the players who've come in kind of, I suppose, in relation to Zinchenko is Calafiori. And interestingly, in the two starts, I don't know about last night. I haven't got that because I wrote this down after the Leicester one. In the two starts he's made in the Premier League at left back, Martinelli has 3 goal and assist involvements. Mm-hmm. Is that left-hand side settling down as the right-hand side has been?
Yeah.
And is Calafiori now becoming undroppable at left back? I say that, and you wait to see my team for Saturday. I've removed him from left back, but that's just because of Arteta.
Because of Timber?
Arteta, yeah.
Oh, because of Arteta, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's making a great case, isn't he? On the ball, it's great seeing him push forward, and I think he's probably just a little bit, he's got a bit to learn defensively. He's been done a few times.
Yeah, pace,
but also just wiliness. I mean, it wasn't pace that against City when he got spun really easily for their goal.
No.
But yeah, yesterday as well, you can forgive him for being outstripped by their winger. What's his face? Or is he the fullback?
Hakimi.
Yeah, who is rapid.
Yeah, I saw he really. There was one incident where he really did outpace Calafiori.
Yeah,
he got to the byline.
That's right. Yeah,
but how old is Calafiori? 21.
Yeah, 21, 22. So no, I am being hard, but it's he's just joined us, for God's sake. He's had half a dozen games, so it's great to see him bed in and kind of show us what he's got.
And maybe we owe Martinelli a bit of an apology. I'm saying this. And he did miss that volley to make it 3-0 yesterday, and he should not have missed that. I mean, he caught it nicely, but he was so central and had the whole goal to aim at, and he went straight down the keeper's throat, which was, I mean, I'd be annoyed with myself for doing that, let alone a professional footballer.
I think those moments where he misses, in the final action, I don't think it matters who's playing left back. I think that's just his finishing that needs to be worked on. Oh yeah, absolutely in that instance. But obviously Calafiori is a good defender. He's difficult to play against. Timber, likewise. And maybe it just offers Martinelli a bit more of especially when Calafiori comes into that left 8 role, that into midfield, that inverted position that he likes. It just gives Martinelli more support, and it'll be interesting to see. Merino came on and he played half an hour yesterday, and obviously he's not played much football for a while. But did you see his interviews? He's done an interview. He said that he's improved as a player in the last 4 weeks. He's learned things from Arteta and the coaches at Arsenal that he didn't know he needed to learn, and so that's quite interesting. I did like it. I thought it was quite cute when he said he started off by apologising for his poor English and then proceeded to speak English better than anybody else. Yes.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. English, not Geordie, which he might have been exposed to. I don't know how long he was up in Newcastle, but...
Not long enough, thankfully. No, he sounded fine.
But his English is like just...
flawless.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. And he's huge.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to see how Arteta uses him moving forward. So look, I have got an issue with Arteta and his use of the squad. And I make the comparison with City because that's who we're up against. Mm-hmm. Pep rotates. He doesn't rotate for typically the last 10 games of the season. He finds his winning team and he sticks with them. But this part of the season, he rotates. And largely that's what allows him to win the last 10 games in a row because his players are a lot more fresh. So he'll drop out the wings. I know Haaland plays every game because they've not got another striker. And as you said, he's a bit AI robot
type.
Do you think Arteta should rotate more?
Well, the short answer is yes. And I think he's just stuck on this idea of, if you want to compete at this level, you have to be able to give me 3 games a week. And for the most part, is kind of the gamble's paid off with, say, for example, our centre halves, Saka, where they've just been played Rice into the ground and seem to be resilient enough to cope. And I think he's leaning into that and maybe doesn't quite yet have the faith. I mentioned this the other day on one of our chats, that the injuries to our defence have kind of hamstrung him to a degree, so I can kind of forgive him a bit, because he's not got any match fit fullbacks aside from those he's playing at the moment.
Well, he could have played Kivior at left back and Calafiori at right back from the start yesterday, instead of starting with Timber, who, I'm just scrolling back on our chat to see the message that Steph sent just to wind me up. I think he sent it, where he admitted, where Arteta, Timber had a muscle injury, felt something at half time, and Arteta on Timber, he was unbelievable in the first half, but he felt something muscular and he wasn't certain. He's played more minutes than we would have wanted in the past few weeks, and we have to manage him. Don't be so bloody reactionary. Manage his minutes before he's done too many, before he breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they know when they're in the red zone and orange zone and whatever.
But he played him anyway.
Yeah, but maybe his markers were good and that he felt that he could handle it, and maybe he intended to take him off anyway, but maybe not at half-time. All I'm saying is I agree that I think we should lean into the squad, but I think Arteta is slightly kind of hung up on the idea of, I'll stick with my sort of best 11 that I have at the moment and then sub them off early. And I think particularly with this international break coming up, I think he will lean into that even more this Saturday.
Well, okay, on that then. Southampton visit Saturday 3:00. Getting used to these Saturday 3:00 kickoff times.
Yeah, what's all that about?
Quite nice. I realise we do our team predictions, and we're predicting the team that we think Arteta will pick, or the team that we would pick if we were in Arteta's shoes. I don't know, which is it? Is it a combination, a bit of column A, a bit of column B?
You can do, but I'm going to go with Arteta's choice of prediction of what Arteta will go with.
Okay, go on then.
So
Stepford in goal.
Rather predictably, as I sort of flagged up a minute ago, I do think he's going to start with exactly the same 11.
Okay, so make that easy for me. Who are they? Who's at right back?
It's Timber.
You think he'll play him even though he came off with a muscle injury?
Yeah.
Madness.
I do think he'll start him.
If he does, I shall be very cross.
No, you will.
Who's at left back then?
Calafiori. Yeah.
Okay, who's your midfield three?
Well, he won't play. I don't think he'll start Merino. I think it's going to be the double pivot with Partey and Rice, with Trossard and Havertz ahead, and then Martinelli and Saka wide.
I mean,
I know it's not what I want.
It's nonsensical that if he does that, it's like, why would these players come to this club if he doesn't? He'll struggle to attract players.
I'm just going on what he's shown us so far, and like I said, if the international break is coming up and he's thinking, let's just get past this hurdle and then we'll see.
It's home to Southampton. They are second bottom by virtue of -9 goal difference as opposed to -10 that Wolves hold. That's it. They've got 1 point, which was it Ipswich they drew with? I think they lost 3-1. At Bournemouth last game out. Right, Steph's team, Raya in goal, Calafiori at right back, Kivior at left back, Saliba and Gabriel in the middle. He's then gone for Partey and Rice, and he's put Nwaneri in with Havertz up top, and then wide players Saka and Sterling.
Okay.
And I'd much rather that team, because I don't think that team is that much inferior to the team that you've selected, to be fair. And certainly that team is more than capable of beating Southampton at home comfortably without getting out of second gear. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Well, actually, wait till you see my score prediction. I'd love Havertz to be rested. I think he'll play 2 games for Germany over the international break. And I just think this would be a nice opportunity to give him a break, because he does his game, as opposed to like Gabriel and Saliba. I'd love to know how many kilometres they cover, but Havertz must cover more ground just because of his position. He's back, he's forward, he's wide. He's leads the press. He's just so high energy, and he goes non-stop for the 94, 95 minutes. I mean, he is quite an incredible specimen. He is
athlete.
I had no idea he was such a beast. I really didn't. I thought he was quite sly and not very physical, and I'm like, I got that completely wrong. I did like his interview today as well, where he maybe yesterday, talking about winning the Champions League for Chelsea. He said, that was nice. He said it would be a lot nicer and have a lot more meaning if I won it for Arsenal, though.
Oh, did he say that? That's
yeah,
lovely.
It's like, good boy, like it. He doesn't like Chelsea, and so it's all good in my books. My team, I've gone for the same back five as Steph, just on the basis that Timber, like say, Tomiyasu was on the bench yesterday, wasn't he? So he's available. He, I think, would be a gamble to start the game. Now, I don't know about Ben White though, because he was, touch and go for Leicester, then not in the squad for PSG. Maybe because he thought he had everything covered. So if Ben White is fit, he will start at right back and Calafiori will go to left back. That's what I think. But I just don't... We're recording this on Wednesday evening, so it's too far out from Saturday to get any kind of hints of injury updates or team news ahead of the weekend. So for the record, I'm saying Calafiori at right back, Kivior at left back, but if Ben White is fit, he will start at right back and Calafiori will revert back to his usual position at left back. I've then gone for Rice as the deep-lying number 6. Merino will start because Arteta is desperate to get him into the team and up to speed, because that's his ideal setup. And I think he'll give him 60 minutes. He had 30 minutes against PSG. I think he'll give him 60 minutes against Southampton, and Partey will come on for him after that, or Jorginho, depending on who he wants to give minutes to. I've written down Trossard, but I really don't want him to start. I want Nwaneri to start. I just do. I think home to Southampton's brilliant game for Nwaneri to bed in a little bit more.
Would you? So, are you thinking a sort of 3 in midfield as opposed to a kind of double at the base?
Nwaneri will play in the third. So instead of Rice, Merino and Ødegaard, it'll be Rice, Merino and Nwaneri.
So it's sort of reverting to our kind of traditional.
Yes, he's the most like for like we've got in the squad. And I want to see him. Listen, the difference he made against Leicester cannot be underestimated. He came on, I think it was quite late in the game, but
he carried it, didn't he?
Yeah. His first movement was he also all of a sudden committed 2 or 3 Leicester players, cut inside and shot. And I was right behind that, was going in the bottom corner. The keeper made another very good save, palming it out. But his energy, he's so controlled of the ball. He doesn't panic, but he does things quickly. Like Ødegaard. Ødegaard doesn't panic, but he's so quick in his thought, in how he thinks and his movement and with the ball as well. And Nwaneri just to the manner born, it felt like straight away. They were meaningful minutes, and Arteta will have learned an awful lot from those like 10, 15 minutes that he had. I've written here down somewhere. He came on in the 86th minute, but there were 7 minutes of stop. So he had like 10, 12 minutes of the game and was integral to us winning it. So I've crossed out Trossard and I've put Nwaneri. I've talked myself into it. Saka on the right, Sterling on the left, and Havertz up top. That's my team, and I would love to rest Havertz. So you could put Havertz on the bench and put Trossard through the middle and Nwaneri behind him, I suppose. Or you could start with Jesus up top and have Nwaneri behind him. So there are options to drop Havertz. I just don't think he will.
Well, so that's my question to you then. In hand on heart, what do you think he will choose?
Oh, he'll choose the team you picked.
See, yeah, with the caveat that if Timber is knackered, then he'll put Calafiori at right back and start Kivior at left back because he's got more minutes.
Yeah, I have this image of like, like mummied, bandages up that Timber he'll have bandages all over his every available muscle will be covered with strapping, and he'll still start. It's like Steph has given us his prediction. He's gone for a 2-0 home win, I should say. He's written, I've predicted such a convincing win because I saw Saints beaten by Bournemouth and they looked worse than Wolves, against whom I also predicted a win.
Wow, that's pretty radical, isn't it, for Steph?
It is. What's your score?
I'm going even more. I'm going really bullish on this one. I'm going to go 4-0.
4-0. I just had one other observation about rotation or comment to make, I guess, and that we need to lose this notion that just because we've won a game with a certain starting 11, it doesn't mean that starting 11 has to start the next game.
No.
That's not the squad, but that's how Arteta, and that's how fans of our vintage certainly would select a team in the past. We want our best 11 and we want to start that best 11 every single week. Wenger's best 11, we knew, George Graham's best 11, we knew who they were. Like, they picked themselves week after week. Injury kept them out. Suspension, in a lot of cases, kept them out as well. But so just that kind of final thought on that. I have gone, so Steph's gone 2-0, you've gone 4-0. I have trumped you and I've gone 5-0. I just think Southampton are pants. I looked at their team and I thought they've got a bloke up front called Tyler Dribble or something like that. I don't know his name. He's going to score a hat-trick, isn't he? And Ramsdale. It's going to be a toss-up between the two of them who gets the player of the season.
Tyler Dribble.
Spurs player of the season or something.
Yeah.
So my point is I don't know who half their team are.
No, there's no reason why we shouldn't put a good few past them. But
I felt the same about Leicester. They got better players, but I still thought we'd win. I did predict 3-1. I got closest. I didn't expect to be 2-2 going into the 94th minute.
No. Well, let's hope that sort of lightning doesn't strike twice in this instance, because 2-0 up against Southampton, I can't see them.
I couldn't see it against Leicester. I mean, we were totally dominant. I've got a quiz.
Okay.
Yes, right. Okay. So 12 players have played for both Arsenal and Southampton in the Premier League era. But since 2007, can you name the 7? Since 2000. I've got the other names down, but they're a little bit more obscure.
Well, Theo's one.
Theo, yes.
What's your man that was always getting selfies? Cedric.
Yep. Yeah. Appeared in every photograph ever taken by Arsenal.com by Stuart McFarlane.
Yeah.
So 2 down.
I'm going to struggle with this.
It's difficult with just one of you.
Yeah, no, Steph is usually good at this. Steph, where are you?
You're missing the most obvious one. He shall be playing on Saturday.
For us?
No.
Oh, Ramsdale, of course. Yes, of course. Ramsdale. So
the other 4 are all English. One currently plays in Turkey, I think. We sold him to Liverpool.
Oh, the Ox.
Yes. Another one is a centre-back. I think we bought it. We paid 16 million quid from Southampton.
Chambers.
Yep. And the other one, outfield, one's a goalkeeper, but the outfield player, he's like a Hale End boy, but he could never fix down a position. He was, and he didn't want to play right back and fancied himself as a midfielder. I think he plays in France now.
Oh, yes. Well, it's Ainsley.
It is.
How long was he at Southampton for?
Right, so he was at I'm glad you asked me that because I actually wrote that down. He played 151 times for Arsenal, but in 2022, he played 27 times for Southampton. He obviously went on loan there before going to the other one's a goalkeeper. He played in 2001 16 times for us, and in 2007 7 times for Southampton. Goalkeeper. You will know him. I mean, you might not think of his name now, but
so he's more of a squad.
Yes, I'm not sure. I think we signed him from Ipswich. I'm not sure.
Richard Wright?
Yes, that's right. Did we sign him from Ipswich?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the other 4 players, this is before 2000, so from 92, one of them got booked because they thought he was Ian Wright. He played for West Ham as well. He's currently an assistant coach. Is it at Fulham?
Oh, God.
I might be wrong about that last one. Shall I tell you?
Yes.
Luis Boamorte.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was at Fulham. I don't know if he's still there.
Another one is Neil Heaney. Now, you wouldn't have got him. I wouldn't have got him either. I vaguely remember the name. I didn't write down. Scott Marshall, another centre-half.
Yes.
Another goalkeeper, Stuart Taylor.
Yep.
And we all live in a...
Perry Groves?
Yes. In 1992, he played 5 times for us. And in 1992, he also played 15 times for Southampton.
Well, there you go.
So that was, I just thought I'd nice to end on a "We all live in a Perry Groves world."
Yeah,
sentiment.
And if Steph was here, he'd be singing it.
He would be singing it a lot better than I could. So the early game on Saturday is Liverpool Palace.
Yes,
I think it's at Palace as well. So you never know. It could be a tricky.
It could be. It's kind of shaping up. I mean, Chelsea have, despite the madness that's going on behind the scenes, do you think it's because they've had a kinder schedule?
Yes. Brighton aren't very good. You know, I felt that watching them, and that's why I was really annoyed that we went into a defensive shell at 1-0 and 1-1. I thought we could have still won that game. So if the criticism we received again for the performance in the second half at Man City, if that had been levelled at us for the performance at home to Brighton, I'd have accepted it completely, but not at Man City. And Man City actually kick off the same time as us. They're home to Arsenal B team at 3:00 on Saturday. So Leno for a man of the match performance. Any one of Iwobi, Emil Smith-Rowe or Reece Nelson getting a winner, a late winner there would be just lovely.
Oh, yeah.
No pressure. Thank you very much for the winner, boys. Right, okay. Well, yeah, so it's up to you whether we catch up on Saturday or not in Block 5, Block 6. We're always there. You're never there.
I'll try. I will try.
Try harder. Well, we're 2 teachers. We must sign your report card. Must do better. Right, okay. Thanks for the chat. And thanks for listening, folks. And we'll catch up again on Saturday evening, probably for a look back at the 5-0 thumping.
Yeah, a video special, probably.
A video special.
Possibly with Steph.
Hopefully with Steph as well. All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at NorthBankPod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by The Podcast Company.